Good morning, afternoon, and evening. Thank you all for joining in this bootcamp organized by RAYZnews, Learn Internet Governance, and ICANN Circle. I am Shreedeep Rayamajhi, a communication professional engaged in ICANN Community. I'm a fellow, a mentor, and a public policy person with huge interest in creating better engagement and outreach, especially for youth leadership. The main motive of organizing the bootcamp is to reach out to the people and to create better engagement. It's a community initiative that we have started for sharing, collaborating, and networking. There is so much of knowledge which we can share and collaborate and create better engagement and visibility. Now let's do some housekeeping rules and regulation. So the housekeeping rules are mute your microphone all the time, except for the time you're speaking. Be mindful of background noises. The session is recorded. Raise your hand and wait for cue when you want to speak. And please state your name for recording purposes. So now let's start with, you might have a lot of queries about what are the things that will happen in the bootcamp and things like that. So I have a small presentation about the schedule and who all are the speakers and what we will be doing during this bootcamp. So I'll share a presentation. We will have time for your questions. As soon as the presentation is over, I will, if you have a question, you can raise your hand and I'll give you the space to speak. So this is the overall schedule. So we have the bootcamp for 5 days, starting from 5th till 9th. And, we basically have a session, a presentation or a presenter. And then you have an alternative session, the second session. And in between the time, there is a break for you to do some research or, and then we will probably sit in to the second session and we will be further discussing about the issues, challenges, problems, or what are the things that you can do. So the first day, I will be doing a presentation about what ICANN is, what is the community all about, how you can engage. So these basic things. The second day, we have Raymond. Raymond is an African representative from ALAC at large community. Third day, we have Eris Ignacio. He's the vice chair of APrIGF. That's a regional RAYLO from Asia Pacific. The fourth day, we have Jonathan Zook. Jonathan Zook is the current nominated chair of the ALAC. So he would be there on the fourth day and you guys can interact. He will be sharing his journey about ICANN and a lot of things about policy making. He's a champion in policy making. And the final day, we would probably sit in, talk about social media, how you can engage in the ICANN fellowship and further create engagement. So that would create better engagement. So these are the housekeeping rules. And we do have certificates for participants who attend 80% of the bootcamp. And we would further be helping, you guys with the, recommendation. In terms of these days, there is a recommendation required for ICANN fellowships, and even the next gen, they require a letter of recommendation. So if you perform well, we'll probably support you as our community member. So this is the whole thing session. And if you remembered or not, I had sent you an exercise. So this is basically an exercise which you can do in between the break time. Right, where you can, write seven interests, why you want to join the ICANN community. It can be communication. You can just click down to the link that I've sent you in your email, or I can also I will also send you the link again in the chat, and you can go there. And in the second phase, we'll probably be discussing more about, the why the community, why we want to join ICANN, and what are the interests, and how you can be more collaborative, how you can create better interest, better engagement for yourself, for your community. I think this is about it. Do you have any questions? Any questions? Okay. I assume that there are no questions. So probably we'll start with the presentation. So how to engage with the ICANN community. We all know what ICANN is. We all know the broader definition of what ICANN what is the acronym for ICANN is. It's Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. So one thing that we all have to see is, when we see ICANN, the first thing that comes to our minds is ICANN fellowship. It's happening all over the world. And why is it happening all over the world? Or how can we get to the fellowship, or how can we apply? For instance, for me, it took me more than 10 years to get a fellowship. Why? Because I had no idea about what or how I should engage, or what I should write in the application. I was completely going the wrong way. When I communicated to the fellowship manager, then she replied back to me saying, these are the things that you have to show in your applications. Only then you will get a fellowship. So these are very basic things which we have to understand about ICANN. So one thing, the most important thing about ICANN is a multi-stakeholder group, and it's a non-profit organization, right? Responsible for coordinating the maintenance and procedure of several databases related to names. And this is all like the same definition that people go through. The most important thing that you have to understand is, what do you mean by multi-stakeholder? What are people doing there? As most of you are working in various communities, you know what multi-stakeholder is, right? So it's a multi-stakeholder community where different stakeholders, people come in and they work together in creating a better ecosystem. So ICANN performs the actual technical maintenance work of the central internet address pool and DNS root zones register pursuant to the internet assigned name number authority INA function. So if you go down the history, you'll probably figure out that there is this thing called how internet was created, and it was basically managed in US by National Telecommunication and Information Administration. And later on, what was felt was, since it's globally, it is used globally, so the global community had to be given the responsibility. The root servers had to be given to the community, right? So then ICANN was formed, and then this community had to be multi-stakeholder. This community had to need those policies developing, rules and regulation, which had to work with the different communities. And that is the reason why ICANN has different fellowships. And the process of transferring it is basically, it works in many ways. ICANN works in many ways at technical level, at community level. Community level basically deals with policy and developing different standards of practice. And a lot of the technical part is more stronger to ICANN. So when we look at, so is ICANN just community oriented organization? Nope, it is not. They have their organizational part, they have the board, and they have the community. And in the board, ICANN board, there is a combination of people, from the community as well as from other stakeholders as well. where they broadly work on the betterment of the ICANN community, and they make broader decisions for standardization, which is consulted with the community, and then further actions are taken. So now let's talk about what does ICANN do. For me, I've attended a lot of the sessions in ICANN. So whenever I go to these meetings, one thing that I do is I prepare myself. I prepare myself in the context of which sessions I'm going to attend, the people that I'm going to meet, and how I'm going to present myself. And with this, I kind of like organized with the fact that, where and what ICANN does. So, ICANN basically coordinates with domain DNS. Everybody knows what DNS is, domain name system, internet protocols, generic, the top level domain management system, and country level, top level domain names. So basically it is given out to the registry and registrars, and it is managed in a way, with developing definite standardization. Right now, IDNs are quite used, and the community is quite engaged, because everybody wants to use their own language, and everybody is interested in writing in their own language and promote and read and further create communication. So what does ICANN do? ICANN ensures security and stability, best practice education, and new security protocols such as the Domain Name Security System extension, DNSSEC, supporting interoperability, secured connection between internet users. I think this is one of the most important functions today, as the dynamic as internet is getting, and as dynamically we are using internet, there is a lot of communication that happens, and these communications have to be secured. These communications have to be, prevented from being misused. So there is a broader function of the community where, the community has to develop those standards which are feasible to everyone in every country. That is the reason why the most important thing that we have to step up from our different communities to these, forums, so that we can learn, we can voice our issues, and further collaborate in creating a better standard, because the development phase has gone like this, right? The next billion is not coming from the next billion is not coming from the developed countries. The next billion is coming from the developing countries, from Asia, from Africa, and that is where we have to build these kind of interaction, and this is the reason why I'm doing this kind of outreach to people. We need to share the knowledge that we have. We need to collaborate with each other. We need to further connect, so that we can collaborate, so that we can learn from each other, because most importantly, it is about learning, it is about sharing. And if we start to do that, these definitions are nothing. The most important thing is learning about understanding an African. An African has to understand an Asian. That is the only way where we can create a better standard, so that we can respect mutually each other and work in benefiting each other, protecting each other. Okay, so this is basically the ICANN mind map, and this is this is basically an example of what ICANN is all about. There are different SOs and ACs and different type of organizations where it is very complex. When you start with ICANN, you basically go in, dive in. It's a open sea, and you dive in, and then you start to get the mails. Then you start to realize that okay, now you don't know what to do. So first thing that you have to understand is how to join, what to do, when to do, and how. I'm not going into the details about what the ASOs and ACs and this and that, because that is your personal interest, and that is how you are gonna engage, right? So I'm just gonna tell you about the basic structure, about how you're gonna penetrate, so that it is easy and comfortable, because ultimately it is your choice about whether you want to join at large or NPOG or other committees. So join, participate, engage. So the best way to join is join your RAYZnews. So regional at-large organizations. So there are a lot of acronyms, and let me tell you, there are ICANN is full with acronyms, and you have to understand this. You have to work on your skills. Join the RAYLOs. There are different types of RAYLOs at regional level. Asia Pacific RAYLOs is there, North American, African, Latin. So there are a lot of RAYLOs. So you just go on, join their newsletter, Facebook, Twitter, and social media. Why? Because all the information comes in these mediums, right? Participate in community calls. Just go in. As soon as you join, you start receiving calls, you start receiving social media, interaction happens, start engaging, because you have to get visible and, engage, collaborate. Well, there would be a lot of opportunity to volunteer. And that is the only way how you can get fellowship. Because if you start engaging in your community, only then you get to this better engaging way of showing what you have done in your community. Because when you give fellowship applications, there are thousands and thousands of people who apply, right? So how are you going to make yourself different is by showing your engagement within the community. And when we talk about community, it is not about your local community. It is about ICANN's local community, where ICANN understands what ICANN's motives are, how ICANN works with the communities. Those things are very important. That's where you have to work on. So these are the basic things. There are a few other communities in social media where you can join. I have a group called ICANN Circle, where I share a lot of these fellowships. A lot of toolkits are there. I've developed a newcomers toolkit, which I'll be sending you after this call, and you can see and go through. What next? It is basically all about understanding the community and start working towards the bettering, your community, in sharing the knowledge that they have, and further creating a facilitation in both. So I think my presentation is over. My presentation is over. So I'll stop sharing my screen. So anybody has any questions, you can raise your hand and ask the question, because we have only 6 minutes left, five minutes left. So any questions? In the second session, we'll probably be talking about, sharing the, the interest, and how you can further engage in the community. So you can write your interest here in this document. I had mentioned about the toolkit, which I'll also be sending you in the email. Okay, where is the link? So you can see or download this toolkit from this link. So any questions? Anybody interested to ask any questions?
Yeah, Mr. Rayamajhi, once again, happy to connect you.
Yeah, go on.
Here is the most participant, as you said, they want to know about the most demandable fellowship, the ICANN fellowship. But I think that in the next session, you will share how the participant will be more engagement with the policy or the ICANN community. Then that could be the easier for the participant to go through this way.
Yes. Thank you, Ashraf, for speaking. Yes, that is there, because we have Jonathan Zook, who completely, he is the master of policy. We will further talk about what to do in policy. That I wanted, people from you guys to come that question. So it is basically, what is policy? Policy is all about your problems, your challenges, and your engagements, right? So if you start engaging with the community, exactly. If you start to engage with the community, only then the engagement happens. Because ultimately you cannot, you just don't go and join and you just don't start to participate, because they will ask for you. When you join in a process, there will be a call for a meeting in regards to what your knowledge are, and then you go on and you give your information to them. But as simple as simple, the way I see policy is all about your problems, your challenges, and in a community like ICANN, it is all about coming down to a consensus, right? It is just coming down to a consensus and collaborating. I've seen this. So I think the first step for newcomer is to certainly to join and then start, and then you learn. There is basically a world of opportunity in ICANN, as you have better courses there. ICANN Learn is a platform that provides you free courses about what policy is, what things are. But the thing is, ICANN is so rich, this community is so big that you get confused. That is the reason why I'm telling you to start in a narrow way and then go broader. Because if you start to go in a broader way, then you will get lost. You go in, you see a lot of groups, you join this group, and when the mails, when they shoot the mail at you, then ultimately you can't keep a track about it. There are loads of mails coming in from ICANN regarding this meeting, that meeting, everything. You get overwhelmed. Yes, Lavish, that is
exactly. There is the important thing. I want to thank you from my heart. That's the most important thing. Newcomer, that did not identify from where we can engage it ourselves. So the basic thing is we should concentrate in the single agenda, and we should try to contribute how we can solve it and how we can expand the more solutions to the community.
So true. The best way is to start slow. The best way, that is the reason why I'm doing this session with you guys, because I wanted to share my experience. I wanted to talk to you as a newcomer, right? Because if you go down the fellowship, even the fellowship, they have all these jargons coming in. People get lost. People simply get lost. So you have to talk in a one-to-one way. Only then it's easy. The problems and challenges that I face is I can share it with you. We just have less than a minute, and if anybody has any questions, we'd be further talking it in the second half after 1 hour. So please do join in there. We are going to talk more about the engagement, and I will open up the things that you want to share. So thank you, Lavish. Certainly I'll send you the link. I'll have everything in the web. So thank you all for joining, and meet you after 1 hour. I hope we will continue this, and do join in tomorrow as well. We have a very good fine speaker from Africa. So thank you for joining in. Let's record. Welcome back to the second phase of the bootcamp first day session. And as per the exercise, let me share you the exercise first. Yes, so let me share you the exercise, and then we'll talk about the things. Okay, so let me start. Shreedeep, so I've written fellowship, human rights, users, IDNs, ICANN policy, RAYLows, again IDNs. So why have I done this? The major thing is I wanted to see the interest of the people, like what are people majorly interested in. So if you take out the summary of this, you probably find 10 or 12 commonalities, right? So most of the people want to engage, most of the people want to travel, most of the people want to create better communication, and these things are more or less the same. So like, so when all these things are same, why aren't we collaborating? Why aren't we working together in creating a better situation? So that is very important for me. Fellowship is very important because I would try to explain why it is important, and then you, one by one, all of you can also try. Fellowship is very important because that's where you go and you meet new people, and you also get to travel. So that is a benefit, but you get to meet new people. You get to learn so much about people. I mean to say, when I travel to ICANN, I got to learn so much. From, I've traveled to Abu Dhabi, I've traveled to Canada, I've traveled to many more destinations, and in each traveling, I've made friends. I've grown professionally and personally. So that is very important part of the fellowship program, and you learn and you grow, and that is the dynamics of the overall fellowship program. Human rights, I'm more passionate, like I'm more passionate about what is happening at our side, especially in our part of the world, in Asia, with limited knowledge and standardization issues. People are paying a lot of money for internet, and these things are majorly put on the other side, where people's rights are marginalized in so many ways, because even UN has listed internet as a basic right. They are working on it. So these things are very important, because everything is done, especially after the COVID. Internet has come up as a solution in terms of communication, better solution of communication, inside as well as outside. So that is there. IDNs, because English, just using English, that is kind of like very limited. And I think we have to grow in terms of our cultural language, so that we can explain, we can share, we can do a lot of things. ICANN policy, because I certainly want to take part in those policy making forums, where our rights and our issues are put there and addressed. Apart from that, IDNs, I've already said about IDN users. Yes, users, because users are very limitedly highlighted, especially if you look at the dynamics of the overall internet, it is so amazing that the next billion is coming from our side. The users are from our side, and we are the people whose internet is not working. We are the people who are paying for the .com, .org, .gov, everything. We are the one who are using. And on internet, internet is not the product, you are the product. So we are the product that they are using, and still we are facing problems and challenges. So that is my point. Now, next, Milan, I would request you to turn on your mic and say something about what is your interest in terms of fellowship, ICANN policy, public policy, and the work that you are doing. Don't take too much of time. Please short and brief information. Mic to Milan.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much, Shreedeep sir. My name is Milan Raj Nepali. I'm the Vice President, Center for Cybersecurity Research and Innovation, Center for Research and Innovation, and I'm an MSc member at Asia Pacific Internet Governance Forum. And my 7 interests in ICANN is: number 1, fellowship; 2, ICANN policy; number 3, public policy; community engagement; collaboration, communication, and research. So these are my 7 interests, and I'm representing the region Asia. Thank you very much.
So I was asking you more about, what is the level of information that is going about ICANN? What level of community engagement is happening at grassroots level? Is there enough information that is flowing?
As per my information, and as I heard that in Nepal, there are lots of youth. Most of the people are youth, and actually they are engaged in the internet governance, ICANN network, internet. Then the it's the age of internet, right? So most of the youth are engaged in internet. We have a digital payment everywhere. We use mobile phones, we use IoT, Internet of Things, and everything.
Now let's go to Karen. Karen, hello.
Yeah, hi, I'm here.
Yeah, can you tell us about your interest, and can you briefly define like what impacts you about creating engagement in your society?
Okay, so one thing I've noticed is that from where we come from, a lot of youths are not exposed to ICANN internet governance yet. So Ghana State came to do that. So with the third fellowship, so I'm trying to see what I can do in the rural communities, because of course these things are not readily available in the rural community. So that's where my interest is right now, because I already have an NGO that I focus on rural community, like students in the rural community. So I intend to add internet governance to the programs, just to expose, the young ones. So that's something that I can say as to the community engagement here.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Karen.
Yeah.
And if there is a possibility, let's collaborate and let's reach out to this community. You have a
Sure.
phone, always I'm there. A lot of the friends are
Okay.
there. So let's
Alright.
bring change. Let's not wait. So now let's
Alright.
take another.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's talk to another speaker because we're very limited time. Jesse.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, sure. Loud and clear. So your interest in ICANN?
Okay. Yeah, perfect. So just like I've stated, the fellowships, universal acceptance, collaboration and networking, cybersecurity. So I do work with an American software development company, and I'm based in Kenya, although I'm a Ugandan. And I do community engagement. So I run programs that do capacity building for Africa's world-class software developers. So that is like building and creating resilient operations with companies abroad. And basically, I've been much more engaged in trying to build the IG space in Uganda. So I'm a member of the steering committee of the Uganda Internet Governance Forum, but I strictly coordinate the Uganda Youth Internet Governance Forum. So it's a little bit tricky with the space in Uganda as well, as we realize most of our countries, which are tagged as developing countries, still have that gap, when it comes to issues of policy discussions, especially in line with technology. In Uganda, for example, if we talk about our cyberspace, we still have a really broader gap. I could say it's nearly over 65% of people, for example, in the country are not informed about, for example, data protection laws. It's only until a problem arises, which is affiliated to the digital space, that you can only realize, oh, these laws exist. That's maybe if you're in courts of law, for example. So my engagement is trying to bridge that gap, especially for young guys in technology, in the tech space. And I'm trying to accelerate this also through the software platform teams that I actually work with within the digital space. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Now, Jason, can you tell us more about your interest in ICANN and and make it brief, please, because we have limited time. So, Jason, mic is over to you.
Thank you. I'm Jason Ahmed Ushno. I'm from Bangladesh, and my region is Asia. So my 7 interest in ICANN is fellowships, community engagement, as we have around approximately 52 youth currently living in our country, which is 1/3 of the country's total population. So lots of community engagement is going on, and internet governance are pretty concerned about the youths, how they are going to use the internet and how the internet actually benefits us So my another interest is research and collaboration and cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and of course, big data, because I think the future is all about the data.
Thank you, Jason. And now, can we have Ashraf? Ashraf, can you tell us more about the 7 interests that you have in a briefing?
Yeah. Thank you once again. As you know, I'm already engaged in the Youth IGF Bangladesh as ambassador and a focal point, and working with the other IG community, especially in locally. But I want to expand my contribution to international platform. So my interest places is about the in-depth policies, the ICANN, and I try to network and communication with the others, mentors and fellow like you. So that's my main interest point. And though I'm a non-tech background, but I have an interest on the cybersecurity and the research and the publications which is coming from the IG community.
Thank you. Thank you, Ashraf. Now, can we have Al Hassan Muhammad Awal? Your 7 interest. Al Hassan. Okay.
Yeah, hello. Sorry for that. So I'm Al Hassan Mohamed Awal from Ghana, and my 7 interest areas are localization, fellowship, communication, collaboration, education, research, and capacity building. And given my background as an educationist working with Ghana Education Service, it has been my interest to making information available to indigenous people in their local languages. For that matter, I co-founded a Wikipedia user group where I do a lot of translations of contents and local languages, whereby people can access information in their own languages without necessarily having the like if they don't even understand English language, they should be able to at least still access information. So I found it very interesting when Ghana SIG organized the fellowship program, and I applied and got the opportunity to take part. I saw that ICANN was a wider platform where and which is in line with my interests, and where I think I can learn to engage in the ecosystem in order to contribute more to the system, and then to achieve my goal of bringing information down to the local people. Thank you.
Thank you, Al Hassan. Now, can we have Isaac? Isaac, can you share your 7 engagement with ICANN, and briefly say, what interests you more?
Hello, please come again.
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Please come. I didn't get the question. Well, I think my network was having
sorry. We are talking about the your engagement. Like, why do you want to go join the ICANN community?
Okay. I think my participation will lead to increase the number of indigenous or underrepresented people or communities in the ICANN ecosystem. When people are able to access information that ICANN has in their own languages, even if they don't understand the English language, and they are still able to get information about whatever is going on in their own languages, it helps to at least achieve the ICANN vision and mission and their core values. I think that is basically what is motivating me to engage in the ICANN ecosystem.
Okay, thank you. So now can we have Unagli? Unagli? Unaglu? Unaglu? Okay, who else is left? Anybody, have I missed out anyone? You can unmute your mic and speak. Okay, then. Okay. Okay, now, you know, the whole point of this exercise was to understand what are the things, commonality in between people from Africa, people from Asia, you know, it is moreover the same. It is moreover the same. We want to engage in community. We want to, you know, work with our community. We want to do capacity building. We want to research. We want to educate. You know, these things are so similar. What binds us is all these bigger pictures, right? All these bigger pictures in terms of you know, the organizations that run these projects, big projects, and we feel we cannot do anything. No, we can do so much. I mean to say, you know, you if you are going for something, you know, like something like a fellowship, you know, or joining the Icann community, you know, what you have to do is first you have to understand your community. You have to go to them, talk about the issues, get a paper, get a pen, list out the issues, you know, get it out there in the policy forum. I bet it will make an impact. I bet you'll make a change, right? But we are not doing that. We are not doing that. That is the reason why things are just limited. Things are not progressing, because we see the smaller part of the whole picture. We don't see the bigger part. So that the whole point, the whole aspect is to understand how Icann works, how we can work our way in, because it is more or less the same community with the same people who are engaged in the same you know, same circle, right? You see all the people same, from IGF, from you know, ICT world, everywhere these people are the same. Being a young youth newcomer, how are you going to work your way in? You know, so a few minutes back in the first session, one of our friends said, yeah, policy intervention is very important, but how are you going to make an intervention about policy? You know, what are the gaps that you should be using so that your work is highlighted? The best easy way is to do a research, to collaborate with your community and take their voices in, or to contribute you yourself, you know, in these communities and further work on, because ultimately they want contributions, and contributions is what makes an impact, right? So that is the best way to create an impact, to join, you know, for the Icann community. As I've said, first learn, prepare, and participate. And in the participation, you know, you kind of like, if you are prepared, you know, you are there and you make an impact. Once you are prepared, you have the information, you put it out on the table, it makes an impact. The most simplest thing is when a food is catered on your table with proper dishes, you know, you like to eat, you have that interest. But if the food is not there and you are asked, you are hungry, then you become furious. So that is what is happening right now. Right now, you see a lot of the people going into this fellowship, but you don't see the work that these people are doing in the community in terms of their engagement. So you have to do these, you know, work, hands-on work to prove yourself. And a lot of you have highlighted fellowship. So for fellowship, you know, prepare, learn. First, if you are trying to apply for next Icann meeting, join Icann meeting, Icann 75. You know, be visible, contribute. Social media is the largest, visible platform there. You can be documented, you can be, visible using that. So, it's a stepwise phase, because I went through that. And now I've established myself in a certain way where I contribute, where I document, and, make an impact. And that is the only way. And it is part of the whole ecosystem. Once you're a fellowship, and once you're not giving back to the community, then the community doesn't. It is not a free event just to travel. It is a lovely event, right? But if you engage, if you contribute, this sector has a lot of potential. Just imagine if you are connecting, if you are collaborating. I've seen my friends getting jobs in all these meetings. They connect, they coordinate, and this is very magical. Now we have very limited time. If any of you have any questions, please do raise. Please do unmute, and you can ask one at a time. Okay. We have a hand. Al Hassan, yeah, please, the mic is yours.
Hello. Thank you so much for the opportunity. To be honest, I'm very new in the ICANN ecosystem, and I really wish to explore in order to learn more. But at times, I don't know. You join how sometimes you want to join a particular group, and maybe you are limited with the qualifications they are requiring. Like you are filling a particular form to join a particular group, and you are asked how many of the ICANN sessions you have joined, or which of the ICANN sessions you have joined, and which are the topics and your contribution. Coming as a new person, you don't even know what to contribute. You are just listening in order to.
Okay, thank you, Al Hassan. A lot of the communication was not clear, but still I'll try to answer. The best way to join, as I've said in the first session, the best way to join is to join the EFRALO. First, join the EFRALO. They have different ALSs, and they have individual membership. So as comfortable as you are, go through their list. I think in Ghana, Raymond has his ALS, so you can join there and subscribe to their mailing list of AFRALO, and then start continuing, because a lot of the communication comes through the emails. Like the Facebook page of ICANN, AFRALO, at large, so that you can further work on. As I've already told, don't dive in wide. Don't dive in wide, because the communication that comes in is very, very, it is overwhelming at times. So start slow, start with a precision, try to be visible. They will have opportunities where you can engage, so you can go in, join, engage, and then apply for fellowships, work with the local communities, ALSs, at large organizations, and then process furthermore, and you can understand the different groups, the different structures of ICANN, and then you'll have an idea. Because if you go directly dive into this whole ocean, you will not learn anything. You will be, it's a very overwhelming situation, and a lot of the people go through this, right? And what it does is it drains you. It drains your energy, and you will not be able to process and know more. So try to go in slowly, join the RAYLO, join the ALS, try working with at large, learn, listen, ask. It is very comfortable. The community is very comfortable with newer people, with the jargons, with the acronyms. A lot of the acronyms are there. It takes you at least 1 to 2 months to understand all these acronyms, and start slow. Social media, even with this ICANN 75, you can virtually register. The links are there. Join in there, and you can go and join in the AFRALO sessions and see what at large is all about and get an idea. So that way you can start. Any more questions? We have very limited time, so I would like to take more questions. Yeah, Jason.
Yeah, thank you. So I was looking towards your slides that you have shared with us on the previous session, I guess. So in that slide, I have found that fellowship program. There is 4 types of fellowship I have found there. So first of all is open fellowship, then alumni fellowship, then community travel program, and the last is crop. So what does that mean in crop?
Okay. So crop is a specific type of outreach and engagement fund that they have in ICANN, which is supposed to be applied by the ALSs and the RAYLO leadership team members for outreaching and engagement. So it is specifically for that. So to apply for this, the ALS has to work with the RAYLOs, and the RAYLOs in combination, they push the proposal towards the staff, and then towards the board, and like a lot of process goes in, and if it's good, they select you and they give you that fellowship, and you can travel and do the outreach, and you have to submit a report within that. So that is specifically after you go in. Open fellowship, I meant these fellowships that are easily available for newcomers as well. As I mentioned earlier, ICANN has a next gen program which is under 24, I think. And there is there is the normal ICANN fellowship thing where you can apply 3 times. And there is a fellowship with the community. The community calls for it, and you apply. And then if you are engaging this, they have a selection panel, and they do it. Alumni fellowship is something that happens in specific events where the whole the event is dedicated for the alumni only, and there only alumni can apply. Newcomers cannot apply. So that is specific event that happens for the alumni. So that is the way of engagement. We have less than a minute. If there is any question, I would like to take one more question. Anyone? So tomorrow we are having Raymond, who is an African representative of ELAC. So please join in, and at the same time, I'll send you the link by today. And be prepared, have some questions